Welcome to Body Bags. I'm your Friday reviewer, Chris, from ChrisB Movies. You know my name is Chris. You know I love B movies. Film I'm reviewing is Horror Noire, History of Black Horror by Xavier Bergen, directed by, a film from 2019. Now, I really wanted to watch a documentary today, and I kind of find this on Shudder, and I got to watch it on Shudder for free without subscribing. Not sure how I did that, but I just kind of did it, and I just kind of watched it. It's an hour and 24 minutes, and it shows the history of black people in horror films, and how films like Blackula really brought a black man really into the fold as I'm playing Dracula. And I think that Blackula is just as good as any Dracula film. I really kind of always enjoyed that. And then they tried to move through other Universal monsters, like the Jekyll and Hyde film, and Blackenstein, which was extremely low budget. And with Blackenstein, it was filmed so that way it's very dark and you couldn't see it. I watched Blackenstein. I don't mind it as much. And Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. So it goes into the first couple of horror films, and it goes back even further from the 1890s to Birth of a Nation, and how they portrayed black people, which was terrible. And we embraced that. And we lived in a time when we embraced things like that. I think it was a D.W. Griffith film. And it was shown in the president's office and everything, and it was required viewing. And it's a horror movie in and of itself. And it showed films and the first films to feature black people where white people would put black paint on their face. And I think a lot of people know the history of that and have seen it themselves. Which, when you look at it back in those days, it's just detestable. And it has people in the background talking, Ken Foray, Jordan Peele. They talk about the evolvement of black horror films and how they have evolved to Get Out, a Jordan Peele film that, shows a black man as being the hero and the white people as being the bad guys. And I think Get Out is a phenomenal film with this very strong message. And it showed that they had that one white girl who was his girlfriend, and she turned bad, And they talk about the ending of the film where he wanted the police to arrest him at the end, but instead the cop car came and it was his friend taking him back home, kind of rescuing him. So it was an empowering film, I thought Get Out was. And how prejudices today are still here, and I treat all people the same, It don't matter what color you are, what heritage you are, what beliefs you have, I'm going to treat you like a human being. I'm going to treat others as they treat myself, and just to show the prejudice back in the day, and how there is still prejudices, especially with the Trump administration and everything. It's not just, the Trump administration and everything that went on with them. I mean, prejudice has always been there through the history of the presidents and stuff. But it's really good to hear some of the famous actors talk about these films. Ken Foray is great in it. Jordan Peele is very insightful. The dog stopped barking. Oh, great. And it was very evolved. So you see a lot of people who are directors, producers. It goes back to the old blaxploitation films, when Pam Grier was in Scream, Blackula, Scream, and how she was a lead, powerful woman in a powerful role. It shows the involvement. And there was a true evolvement from Birth of a Nation from the 1890s, that was shown in presidents' offices, and they praise this film. This film is a horror movie in and of itself to turn into the blaxploitation era. To now have an equality in films, which I think is really important. And Jordan Peele is a pioneer in that. And I applaud him for making not only great films, but for having a strong lead role for a black man, Where the white people are the bad people, There's bad in, there's bad in whites, there's bad in some black people, there's bad in some Mexican people. It doesn't matter. I think it's the individual who does bad things. You know, I think it's the individual, not what heritage you have, not what color you have. It's an individual thing, and to place all people in one category is just not cool. That whole thing with the syphilis thing, I don't know if anybody's ever watched this one, and how people were treated down south that had syphilis, or had that syphilis epidemic, and how they were treated, and they were lied to, and some people died because of it. They thought they were getting treatment, but when all it was a study. I mean, that is just disparaging. That is just disgusting. That human lives were at stake and nobody cared. It's just such a great documentary, and it evolves perfectly through each era. And I think everybody should watch it. If you have Shudder, check it out. I would definitely buy it if you can. But it's a really good documentary, and it just shows the evolvement of black horror movies. You know, how the black people were killed off in the beginning, and then they started surviving longer, and then longer, until a powerful lead role. And, you know, Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing, I applaud him for that movie. That movie was probably one of the best films about prejudice ever, and how to overcome it. And, like, people in the audience were just, like, clapping after the film. You know, Spike Lee puts out strong performances, and they talked about Spike Lee in this film and some of his films, and just amazing. If you've never seen Do the Right Thing, check that movie out. It's great. Or any other Spike Lee films. I'm sorry about the dogs. They're just going to keep barking. They bark at everything that goes by. I mean, the trees sway and they bark at it. So, but definitely watch Horror Noire, History of Black Horror. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. If you have Shudder, definitely watch it on Shudder. If you love any and all documentaries about movies, definitely check this one out. It's a really great documentary. An hour and 24 minutes, never over, welcome to stay. And it's definitely a good watch. And some of the stuff will disgust you, really, as it did myself. And, you know, you applaud people like Spike Lee and Jordan Peele for putting up strong performances in their films. And putting out good messages, by God. So check it out, and check me out next Friday, because I'm always going to bring some special stuff to the table, definitely. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something fun and interesting, yeah. And so definitely check out this documentary. It is amazing, and it's really, really good. And I was watching now, I was like so intrigued, and then it ended, I was like, aw, I could have watched a little more of that. But definitely a quick watch, and a really, really insightful watch as well. And also check out all the other Body Bags reviewers. They'll bring wonderful reviews to the table, so definitely check them out. All a bunch of great guys who have a love of cinema, just like all of you, and just like all of us. And if you have Shudder, subscribe to Shudder. I think I might do that. But don't forget to check out those late-night horror movies. Read up on your latest Fright Mags. Don't forget to tune in to another episode of the show we call Body Bags, and I'll see ya on the flipper.